Chapter 1 of Rudyard Kipling's novel Kim introduces us to the novel's protagonist, Kimball O'Hara, or Kim, and sets the stage for his journey across British India. The chapter is rich in literary themes, character development, tone, symbolism, and emotional undercurrents, all woven together with Kipling's stylistic choices. Themes. One of the central themes in this chapter is identity and the intersection of cultures. Kim, a boy of Irish descent, identifies with India and its people, navigating the complexities of colonial India's social hierarchy. He is the friend of all the world, embodying the blending of East and West. Another theme is the spiritual quest, embodied by the Lama's search for enlightenment and the mythical river of the arrow. The theme of deception and truth is also introduced through Kim's skill at espionage and his interactions with Mahbub Ali. Character development. Kim is presented as streetwise, resourceful, and independent, with an ambiguous cultural identity that allows him to move fluidly between worlds. The Tibetan Lama represents spiritual devotion and the quest for enlightenment, contrasting with the material and political concerns of the other characters. Mahbub Ali, the horse trader, is a figure of intrigue and mystery, embodying the clandestine operations of empire. Tone. The tone of the chapter is adventurous and intriguing, mixed with a sense of playfulness and innocence seen through Kim's eyes. However, there's an underlying seriousness to the Lama's religious quest and the political machinations of Mahbub Ali. Symbolism. Zamzama, the cannon where Kim sits, symbolizes the power and dominance of the British Empire, as well as Kim's own ability to conquer his surroundings. The Lama's quest for the River of the Arrow symbolizes the search for spiritual purity and release from the cycle of rebirth. Kim's amulet case, which holds the secret documents, symbolizes the hidden truths and deceptions that drive the novel's plot. Emotional undercurrents. The chapter conveys a sense of wonder and curiosity, particularly in the Lama's awe at the museum's Buddhist artifacts, which resonate with his faith. There's also a palpable excitement in Kim's clandestine activities and his decision to accompany the Lama on his quest. The emotional landscape is one of anticipation and the thrill of the unknown. Stylistic choices. Kipling employs a blend of descriptive prose and dialogue that captures the rhythms and patterns of speech from various cultures, enhancing the novel's authenticity. His use of local vernacular and cultural references paints a vivid picture of colonial India. The close third-person narrative allows readers to see the world through Kim's eyes, while also providing insight into the thoughts and motivations of other characters. Overall, Chapter 1 of Kim lays the groundwork for a tale of adventure and self-discovery, set against the backdrop of a richly depicted India at the crossroads of tradition and colonial influence. As readers, we're invited to explore the physical and spiritual landscapes alongside the characters, each on their own journey toward a unique destiny. Chapter 10 of Rudyard Kipling's Kim offers a rich tapestry of themes, character development, and stylistic choices that reflect the complexity of both the characters and the world they inhabit. As we delve into the chapter, we see Kim, the young protagonist, navigating the intricate pathways of espionage and self-discovery in British-ruled India. The chapter opens with an excerpt from an old play that alludes to the freedom of a hawk and its readiness to soar. This imagery symbolically resonates with Kim's character, who is portrayed as a young bird eager to test his wings. The freedom of the hawk parallels Kim's own burgeoning independence and his immersion into the great game of espionage. Character development is central to this chapter, with Kim's transition from a streetwise orphan to a trained spy. His relationship with Mahbub Ali, a horse trader and secret agent, undergoes a transformation as well. Mahbub acts as a mentor, guiding Kim through the steps of becoming an operative, while also nurturing a paternal fondness for the boy. This bond is reflected in the quote, "My son, what need of words between us?" illustrating the depth of their connection beyond mere words. The tone throughout the chapter is one of adventure and intrigue, tinged with the emotional undercurrents of a boy poised on the brink of adulthood. Kim's journey is not just physical, it's an emotional and spiritual quest, as symbolized by his interactions with the Lama and his own pursuit of identity. This duality of purpose, serving the British Empire while seeking personal enlightenment, creates a complex emotional landscape for Kim to navigate. Symbolism is prominent in the chapter, particularly through the use of the amulet that Kim receives. The amulet serves as protection, a physical manifestation of the guardianship afforded to him by his mentors in the espionage network. Additionally, the transformation of Kim's attire from that of a British schoolboy to a native chela signifies a shedding of his colonial ties and a deeper embrace of his Indian roots. Stylistic choices, such as the use of vernacular speech and detailed descriptions, immerse the reader in the setting. Kipling's integration of Hindi words and phrases lends authenticity to the dialogue and brings to life the cultural milieu of colonial India. His narrative skill is evident in the seamless blending of action, dialogue, and introspection, allowing the reader to experience Kim's internal and external worlds simultaneously. The emotional undercurrents in the chapter are complex, oscillating between excitement for the future and a sense of loss for the simplicity of youth. Kim's interactions with various characters reveal his adaptability and his innate ability to navigate the diverse social strata of India. The mixture of fear, anticipation, and exhilaration that Kim feels is palpable and reflects the universal emotions associated with growing up and finding one's place in the world. In conclusion, Chapter 10 of Kim is a microcosm of the book's larger themes, character arcs, and tonal shifts. Kipling's vivid storytelling, replete with rich symbolism and emotional depth, continues to captivate readers, offering a window into the life of a young boy caught between two worlds during a tumultuous period in history. Kim's journey is not merely a spy adventure, it's a coming-of-age story that explores the complexities of identity, loyalty, and the search for personal truth. Chapter 10 of Rudyard Kipling's Kim is a pivotal moment in the young protagonist's journey, exploring themes of identity, faith, and the search for enlightenment. As our story continues, we delve deep into the psyche of Kim, whose full name is Kimball O'Hara, a street-smart orphan of Irish descent living in British India. The chapter opens with a poem that sets the tone for the narrative that follows. This poem speaks to the inherent skills of a born juggler and how, if one is not suited to their trade, they will ultimately fail. The poem serves as a metaphor for Kim's own life, as he juggles various identities and allegiances: Irish, Indian, disciple, spy, and more. It's symbolic of the complexity of colonial India, a land where many cultures and destinies intertwine. This chapter sees Kim grappling with a sense of profound loneliness, contemplating the vastness of his solitude in a country teeming with people. "Now am I alone, all alone," he muses, highlighting his isolation despite the crowded nature of his environment. It's a powerful moment of self-reflection that adds depth to his character, as he confronts the reality of his existence and the precariousness of his life as a child of the streets. Kipling uses a technique called mazement, where Kim repeats his own name in an attempt to understand his personal identity, a practice said to be common among certain Asiatics. The repetition leads to a near-spiritual experience, suggesting the fluidity of identity in a colonial context. This introspection is interrupted by a Hindu holy man who recognizes Kim's existential crisis as a search for enlightenment, a quest that mirrors that of Kim's companion, the Tibetan Lama. The encounter with the Bairagi is significant as it marks a moment of connection and understanding. Despite their differences, they share a commonality in their spiritual quests. The Bairagi's compassion and recognition of Kim's inner turmoil provide a moment of solace and companionship in his otherwise solitary existence. Kim's journey to Benares, Varanasi, further explores the theme of faith. Benares, being a holy city, is a place where Kim's outward identity as a disciple is respected. It's an emotional undercurrent that highlights Kim's ability to navigate the complexities of Indian society, where religious piety and status intersect. Here, Kipling vividly portrays the city's sensory experiences, the filth juxtaposed with an atmosphere dense with devotion. The meeting with the Punjabi farmer seeking a cure for his sick child is a crucial moment of character development for Kim. The farmer's plight and the mention of various deities reflect the diverse and often desperate religious practices in India. Kim's interaction with the farmer shows his growing empathy and sense of responsibility. He's no longer the street urchin looking for personal gain. He is becoming a young man with a conscience, a person who understands the weight of his actions on others. Stylistically, Kipling's writing in this chapter is rich with cultural references and local color, from the mention of specific places like Jandiala and Jalandhar to the broader discussion of Indian religions and beliefs. Kim's ability to converse with the farmer in the local vernacular showcases his linguistic adaptability and his role as a cultural chameleon. The emotional resonance of the chapter lies in Kim's internal struggle and his outward actions that reflect a maturing sense of self. The tone shifts from introspective and somber to one of cautious hope as Kim takes on the role of a healer, albeit symbolically, promising to help the farmer's child. In conclusion, Chapter Theft of Kim is a profound exploration of the search for identity and meaning within a multicultural and colonial landscape. Kipling's narrative is a tapestry woven with themes of faith, connection, and personal growth, as our protagonist, Kim, continues his journey not just across India, but towards understanding himself and his place in the world. The language and symbolism enrich the text, offering a nuanced portrayal of a young boy navigating the complexities of a life that is at once extraordinary and emblematic of the human condition. In Chapter 12 of Rudyard Kipling's Kim, we see the culmination of various threads that have been interwoven throughout the novel. This chapter is rich in themes of identity, transformation, and the dynamics of the great game. Kipling employs a range of stylistic choices to advance character development, establish tone, and imbue the narrative with symbolism and emotional undercurrents. One of the prevailing themes is the fluidity of identity, exemplified by Kim and the spy E23. Kim's ease in slipping between his identities as a British Sahib and a native Indian boy underscores the novel's exploration of cultural and social duality. This is further highlighted when Kim aids E23 in transforming from a Maratha trader into an ochre-barred sadhu to evade capture. The theme of transformation is not just physical, but also internal. It speaks to the adaptability required of those engaged in espionage, a clear nod to the Great Game, the political conflict between Russia and Britain in Central Asia. Character development is prominent as Kim comes into his own, both as the Lama's disciple and a player in the Great Game. He displays ingenuity, resourcefulness, and a deep understanding of the cultural milieu in which he operates. The Lama, on the other hand, remains detached from worldly concerns, yet his affection for Kim grounds him in the temporal world, illustrating the intersection between spiritual and earthly realms. The tone of this chapter oscillates between tension and relief. Initially, there's suspense as the Maratha recounts his perilous escape, followed by urgency in the transformation scene. The tone shifts to one of camaraderie and triumph as Kim and E23 successfully deceive the Kambo farmer, and the Lama remains blissfully ignorant of the espionage at play. Symbolism is woven throughout the chapter. The Lama's relics serve as a symbol of the spiritual path, while the disguises and amulets represent the deceptive nature of the Great Game. The train, a marvel of British engineering, symbolizes the inexorable advance of colonial influence and modernity into traditional India. The emotional undercurrents of the chapter are complex. There's a palpable sense of danger as the characters navigate threats both seen and unseen. Kim's emotions are a mix of pride in his skills, affection for the Lama, and excitement for the adventure. The Lama exudes a serene confidence, untouched by the turmoil around him, while the Kambo's fear and the Maratha's desperation add to the chapter's emotional intensity. Stylistically, Kipling uses dialogues and internal monologues to reveal character thoughts and motivations. His descriptions are vivid, painting a sensory-rich picture of the settings, from the bustling streets of Benares to the cramped quarters of the train compartment. The use of local dialects and jargon adds authenticity to the narration, immersing the reader in the cultural context. Chapter 12 of Kim is a microcosm of the novel's larger themes and showcases Kipling's ability to blend adventure, political intrigue, and deep character studies into a compelling narrative. It stands as a testament to the transformative power of loyalty and friendship, set against the backdrop of a country in the throes of change. In Chapter 13 of Rudyard Kipling's Kim, the narrative continues to interweave the Bildungsroman of young Kimball O'Hara with the political intrigue of the Great Game. This chapter is significant for its exploration of themes such as identity, loyalty, and the clash between spiritual and worldly pursuits. Kipling's stylistic choices, including his use of language and the shifting emotional undercurrents of the characters, are pivotal in underscoring the complexities of the colonial experience in India. The chapter opens with the poem The Sea and the Hills, which sets a tone of longing and desire for the vast and unbounded, reflecting the inner yearnings of the characters. The sea and the hills symbolize the infinite and the eternal, mirroring both Kim's adventurous spirit and the Lama's spiritual quest. As Kim assists E23, an undercover agent, in evading capture by the British authorities, the theme of loyalty comes to the fore. Kim's resourcefulness in outwitting the police demonstrates his growing proficiency in the great game, while his devotion to the Lama underscores his dual allegiance to both the game of espionage and his spiritual mentor. The character development of Kim is particularly noteworthy. No longer the street-savvy child, Kim is portrayed as a capable agent, making crucial decisions that impact the elaborate web of espionage. His interactions with E23 offer a glimpse into the brotherhood that exists among the players of the great game, hinting at Kim's potential future within this clandestine network. Contrasting with the world of espionage is the Lama's unwavering pursuit of enlightenment. His disinterest in worldly affairs serves as a symbolic counterpoint to the machinations of the great game. The Lama's spiritual integrity contrasts sharply with the duplicity and maneuvering that characterize the world of espionage. His singular focus on finding the river of the arrow and achieving freedom from the wheel of life presents a poignant juxtaposition to the transitory thrills of Kim's adventures. The emotional undercurrents of the chapter are complex. Kim's joy in participating in the great game is tempered by his reverence for the Lama's spiritual journey. The Lama's contentment in his quest is tinged with a gentle reproach towards Kim's fascination with worldly matters. This emotional ambivalence highlights the tension between the Lama's and Kim's respective paths, yet it is clear that their fates are intertwined. Symbolism is rife throughout the chapter. The disguises worn by the characters are emblematic of the fluidity of identity in the colonial context. Kim's ability to navigate between different roles, be it a disciple, a spy, or a sahib, speaks to the theme of identity as a performative construct adaptable to the demands of circumstance. Kipling's stylistic choices enhance the narrative's accessibility and naturalness. His use of colloquial speech, particularly in the dialogues between Kim and the various characters, brings authenticity to the setting and the era. The rich descriptions of the Indian landscape and cultural milieu provide a vivid backdrop to the unfolding drama, immersing the reader in the sights, sounds, and smells of colonial India. In conclusion, Chapter 13 of Kim is a masterful blend of adventure, political intrigue, and spiritual exploration. It advances the narrative arc of Kim's development, while delving into the broader themes of identity, loyalty, and the intersection of the sacred and the profane. Kipling's evocative prose and adept handling of emotion and symbolism create a chapter that is both intellectually engaging and deeply human. Chapter 14 of Rudyard Kipling's Kim is a rich tapestry of literary themes, character development, and stylistic choices that merit close examination. This chapter, while continuing the physical journey of Kim and the Lama, delves deeper into their spiritual and emotional landscapes, intertwining the great game with the quest for enlightenment. The chapter opens with an epigraph from Kipling's The Sea and the Hills, which draws a parallel between the desire for the sea and the hillmen's yearning for their hills. This not only sets the tone for the chapter, but also symbolizes the inner longing of the characters, Kim's yearning for adventure and the Lama's quest for spiritual fulfillment. As Kim and the Lama traverse the grueling terrain of the Himalayas, the Lama's rejuvenation becomes evident. The hills are not just a physical challenge, but also a symbol of his spiritual homecoming, as he declares, "This is my country." This is contrasted with Kim's struggle against the landscape, a plains-bred boy unaccustomed to the rigors of the mountains. Here, Kipling employs the environment as a character in itself, shaping and challenging the individuals who dare to traverse its paths. The emotional undercurrents of the chapter are palpable as Kim witnesses the Lama's transformation. The once weary old man is reinvigorated by the familiar terrain. His strength and determination, serving as a testament to his faith and purpose. It is a moment of character development for Kim as well, who is forced to confront the physical limitations of his young body against the vastness of the natural world. As the journey progresses, the tone of the narrative takes a darker turn with the introduction of two European spies. Kipling subtly critiques the arrogance of colonial powers through their dismissive attitude towards the local hill people and their culture. The Great Game, a term for the political and espionage battles between the British Empire and Russia in Central Asia, is brought to the fore as Kim comes into possession of the spies' belongings, an act that could have significant geopolitical consequences. Symbolism is prevalent throughout the chapter, particularly in the Wheel of Life, which the Lama explicates to passersby, including the two foreign spies. The wheel, representing the Buddhist concept of samsara, or the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, serves as a counterpoint to the machinations of the Great Game, emphasizing the transient nature of worldly pursuits compared to the pursuit of spiritual liberation. The stylistic choices in this chapter reflect Kipling's mastery of language and narrative rhythm. The pacing is deliberate, mirroring the arduous ascent and descent of the mountain paths, while the dialogue is peppered with local dialects and expressions, grounding the reader in the multicultural tapestry of India. Emotionally, the chapter is charged with a sense of foreboding and tension as the Lama and Kim find themselves embroiled in the dangerous game of espionage. Their innocence and purity of purpose stand in stark contrast to the deceit and manipulation of the spies, culminating in a physical and moral confrontation that tests the Lama's commitment to nonviolence. In conclusion, Chapter 14 of Kim is a powerful exploration of the themes of identity, faith, and the clash of cultures. Kipling's rich descriptions, emotional depth, and evocative symbolism invite the reader to reflect on the universal quest for meaning and the often unintended consequences of imperial ambition. As Kim and the Lama continue their odyssey, we are reminded that the greatest journeys are those that take place within the landscape of the human soul. Chapter 15 of Rudyard Kipling's Kim is a pivotal moment in the narrative that explores the themes of spirituality, the conflict between desire and duty, and the complexities of human relationships. The chapter begins with an epigraph from the poet Kabir, which sets the tone for the interplay of personal agonies and universal struggles that are to unfold. At the outset, we witness the Lama's internal struggle with his own humanity and worldly desires. Having been revitalized by rest and Kim's care, the Lama is initially filled with a sense of spiritual elevation, exclaiming that the hills are his true home. However, his sense of peace is quickly overshadowed by the realization of his recent actions, ones driven by anger and a desire for violence. This moment of self-reflection reveals the Lama's profound humility and capacity for self-critique. It is an emotional low point, as he grapples with the idea that he has strayed from his path to enlightenment. Kim, on the other hand, is shown to be a figure caught between the worlds of boyhood and manhood, spirituality, and the great game of espionage. His care for the Lama is genuine and deeply felt, indicative of the strong bond that has developed between the two characters. The Lama's distress at his own moral failings and physical weakness elicits a paternalistic protectiveness in Kim, who feels the burden of responsibility for his mentor. The tone of this chapter fluctuates between the solemn and the tender, capturing the emotional undercurrents that run through the interactions between characters. Kipling's use of symbolism, the Lama's view of the vast mountains, the thrown whiskey bottle, and the Wheel of Life, adds depth to the narrative. The mountains represent both the Lama's spiritual aspirations and the physical challenges that he faces. The bottle thrown into the abyss symbolizes the futility of human actions against the vastness of the natural world, while the Wheel of Life, torn by the Lama's own admission of his failings, symbolizes the fragility of his spiritual journey. Stylistically, Kipling's choice to shift perspectives between Kim and the Lama allows readers to empathize with both characters. The use of regional dialects and the inclusion of local customs, such as the carrying of the Lama in a dhuli, add authenticity to the setting and highlight the cultural diversity of India. The introduction of the woman of Shamlay injects a new dynamic into the story. Her past connection to the British, her current status as a powerful figure in her village, and her complex interactions with Kim reveal the layered nature of identity and the impact of colonialism. The scene where she aids Kim and the llama is charged with emotional complexity, blending gratitude, resentment, and past traumas. Her unexpected act of kindness towards the llama, despite her cynicism, underscores the theme of redemption and the interconnectedness of human lives. Kim's development is further illustrated in his interactions with the woman of Shamleg. His assertion of authority over her, followed by his momentary lapse into the role of a sahib, reveals his internal conflict between his Indian upbringing and the persona imposed upon him by his British heritage. The woman of Shamleg's bitter laughter and reflection on her own life speak volumes about the impact of cultural displacement and lost love. In conclusion, Chapter 15 of Kim serves as a microcosm of the novel's broader themes, delving into the inner turmoil of its characters as they navigate the intersections of personal and spiritual quests. Kipling's tonal shifts, use of symbolism, and attention to cultural detail create a rich tapestry of emotion and conflict, setting the stage for the unfolding events as Kim and the llama continue their journey. Welcome to our literary exploration of Chapter 16 from Rudyard Kipling's novel, Kim. In this voiceover analysis, we'll delve into the literary themes and stylistic choices that mark this chapter as a pivotal moment in the journey of Kimball O'Hara, known simply as Kim. The chapter opens with a vivid landscape of northern India, a setting that serves as more than just a backdrop. It's an integral character in the story, shaping the lives and destinies of those who traverse it. As we step into the world of the characters, we are immediately struck by the emotional undercurrents of their respective quests and the bonds that have formed among them. The llama's journey to enlightenment and Kim's quest for identity are the central themes of this chapter. Both characters have undergone significant development by this point. The llama, once an isolated figure in search of his river of the arrow, has become a figure of compassion and interconnectedness. His relationship with Kim has evolved into a deep spiritual kinship, highlighting the theme of mentorship and the transfer of wisdom across generations. Kim, the street-smart orphan, has grown from a carefree child of the streets into a young man caught between worlds, the world of his Indian upbringing and the world of his British heritage. This tension is vividly depicted through his internal struggles and his external actions, symbolized by his various disguises and the great game of espionage that he's been thrust into. Kipling's stylistic choices in this chapter are noteworthy. He employs rich, descriptive language that paints a sensory-filled picture of the Indian landscape and its people. His use of local dialects and idioms adds authenticity to the characters' voices and immerses the reader in the cultural milieu. The tone of the chapter is reflective and anticipatory, as it builds up to the climax of the llama's spiritual quest and Kim's personal revelations. Symbolism plays a significant role in this chapter. The blue shale of Ladakh, the vast Himalayas, and the rushing rivers all serve as metaphors for the spiritual and emotional journeys of the characters. The dreamer whose dream came true, mentioned in the opening poem, encapsulates the llama's eventual enlightenment and the culmination of his lifelong pursuit. The emotional resonance of the chapter is profound. We witness the llama's euphoria as he believes he has finally achieved his goal, juxtaposed with Kim's exhaustion and longing for direction. Their bond is a source of strength and solace, yet it is also a reminder of the impermanence of all relationships. As we reach the end of the chapter, the llama's declaration that the search is finished and the reward is upon them marks a turning point. The llama's assertion that he and Kim are free from sin and his invitation to come signal a new beginning. It is a moment of transcendence, not only for the llama but also for Kim, who stands on the threshold of self-discovery. In conclusion, Chapter 16 of Kim is a masterful blend of character development, thematic depth, and stylistic elegance. It is a chapter that rewards careful reading, revealing the emotional complexities and spiritual yearnings that drive Kipling's characters and, by extension, all of us. As we close this segment, we are left to ponder the timeless questions of identity, belonging, and the quest for meaning that Kipling so artfully presents. In Chapter 2 of Rudyard Kipling's Kim, the reader is thrust into the bustling, sensory overloaded world of India as experienced by the young protagonist Kim and his companion, the Tibetan Lama. This chapter is rich with themes of cultural intersection, the quest for enlightenment, innocence and cunning, and the complexities of colonial India. Kipling's stylistic choices, including his use of language and vivid descriptions, effectively bring these themes to life while developing the characters and setting the tone for the narrative. The chapter opens in the fort-like railway station, a symbol of the British colonial presence and industrial modernity, which contrasts starkly with the Lama's perspective, who sees it as the work of devils. This juxtaposition introduces one of the novel's central themes: the clash and coexistence of different worldviews, Eastern spirituality and Western materialism. Character development is key in this chapter, particularly for Kim, whose craftiness and street smarts are on full display. He confidently navigates the complexities of the train station, deftly acquires tickets, and even manages to swindle a commission from the Lama's purse, illustrating his survival instincts. Meanwhile, the Lama's character is further developed through his innocence and naivete regarding the ways of the modern colonial world, reinforcing his status as a spiritual seeker out of place and time. The tone of the chapter is dynamic, shifting from the intimidating and alien environment of the train station to the warmth and humor found within the train carriage. Kipling uses the Lama's and Kim's interactions with the diverse passengers to showcase the melting pot of Indian society, including Sikhs, Hindus, Muslims, and a British officer. The emotional undercurrents of these interactions range from lighthearted teasing to profound discussions about faith and destiny, encapsulating the complexity of India's cultural tapestry. Symbolism is ever present in the chapter, most notably the prophecy of the red bull on a green field, which guides Kim's actions and serves as a harbinger of his future. It symbolically ties Kim's personal journey to larger historical and political events, foreshadowing the roles that both he and the Lama will play in the great game of espionage and imperial conquest. Kipling's stylistic choices, particularly his use of local dialects and idiomatic expressions, lend authenticity to the dialogue and immerse the reader in the setting. The detailed descriptions of the train and its passengers create a vivid picture of the journey, while the shifting perspectives between Kim and the Lama provide insight into their inner worlds. The chapter concludes with a sense of anticipation and mystery, as Kim and the Lama, blessed by their hosts, continue their journey towards Umbala. The Lama's single-minded quest for his river of enlightenment runs parallel to the impending political tension hinted at by the British officer's cryptic conversation about war and punishment. These narrative threads are skillfully woven together, setting the stage for the unfolding adventure. In summary, Chapter 2 of Kim serves as a microcosm of the novel's broader themes, encapsulating the richness of India's colonial landscape. Kipling's narrative techniques effectively develop the characters of Kim and the Lama, setting them on a path fraught with both spiritual and worldly challenges. The chapter is a testament to Kipling's ability to capture the essence of a time and place through evocative language and compelling storytelling. In Chapter 3 of Rudyard Kipling's Kim, we witness a convergence of pathways, both literal and metaphorical, which serves to further develop the central characters and introduce themes of spirituality, colonialism, and the complexities of Indian society. The chapter opens with a confrontation between Kim, a young boy of Irish descent raised in India, and his Tibetan Lama guide, with a local farmer. This encounter sets the tone for the chapter, highlighting themes of class and caste prejudice, as well as the tension between traditional and modern ways of life. The Lama's demeanor underpins these themes, as he offers a lesson in humility and compassion, drawing a distinction between appearance and inner virtue. As the narrative progresses, the relationship between Kim and the Lama deepens, revealing a dynamic of student and teacher. The Lama's spiritual quest for the River of the Arrow and Kim's search for identity interweave, symbolizing the larger search for meaning and purpose that is central to the human experience. This spiritual journey is juxtaposed with the physical journey along the Grand Trunk Road, a symbol of India's rich cultural tapestry and the historical impact of British colonialism. The Grand Trunk Road itself is emblematic of India's diversity and the intersection of countless lives and stories. It serves as a backdrop for the exploration of the theme of unity amid diversity, as people from all walks of life traverse this ancient thoroughfare. Kipling's description of the road is vivid and bustling, providing a sensory immersion into the sights, sounds, and smells of India. The tone of the chapter shifts with the arrival of an old soldier, a character that introduces a theme of nostalgia and remembrance. His stories of military service during the Indian Mutiny of 1857 offer a stark contrast to the peaceful teachings of the Lama, highlighting the coexistence of violence and tranquility in the world. The old soldier's pride in his martial past and his son's military achievements symbolize the valorization of physical strength and martial prowess, which the Lama quietly challenges with his emphasis on spiritual strength. Kipling's stylistic choices in this chapter, his use of dialect, the rhythm of speech, and interspersed local color, enrich the narrative, lending authenticity to the characters and the setting. The exchange of songs and stories, particularly the tale of Nicol Sain, Nicholson, further emphasizes the oral tradition that is an integral part of Indian culture. Emotional undercurrents in the chapter are complex, ranging from the Lama's serene detachment to the old soldier's fiery pride. Kim's emotions are particularly nuanced as he navigates his role as the Lama's chela, disciple, and his own innate cunning and adaptability. Kipling expertly captures the character's internal conflicts and desires, making them relatable and human. In conclusion, Chapter 3 of Kim is rich in literary themes, such as the search for enlightenment, the clash of cultures, and the bonds of kinship. Character development is robust, with each character embodying different aspects of Indian society and the human condition. The tone is a blend of the contemplative and the active, symbolized by the Lama's quest and the vibrancy of the Grand Trunk Road. Symbolism and emotional depth round out the chapter, making it a microcosm of the novel's broader exploration of identity, spirituality, and the complexities of India during the Raj. Chapter 4 of Rudyard Kipling's Kim is rich with the vibrancy of Indian life, the depth of human connection, and the undercurrents of spiritual seeking. As we journey with Kim and his Lama, we not only traverse the dusty roads of India, but also the complex terrains of culture, caste, and creed. The chapter opens with a poem reflecting on the fickle nature of fortune, which sets the tone for the adventures and encounters to come. Fortune, or luck, plays a significant role in the lives of the characters, shaping their paths in unexpected ways. Kim's character continues to develop as he finds himself at ease in the colorful chaos of India, showcasing his adaptability and street smarts. Notably, he displays a blend of reverence and practicality towards his Lama, ensuring the spiritual man's needs are met while also leveraging their partnership for material benefits. This dualistic nature of Kim reflects the broader themes of identity and belonging that permeate the novel. The Lama's character, in contrast, is a picture of spiritual focus and naivety towards worldly matters, further highlighting the juxtaposition between the sacred and the profane. His single-minded pursuit of his religious quest is touching and serves as a reminder of the power of faith. The chapter skillfully employs symbolism, particularly in the depictions of the Grand Trunk Road as a metaphor for life's journey, with its myriad travelers and stories. Kipling's descriptive prowess paints a vivid tapestry of sights, sounds, and smells, immersing the reader in the subcontinent's sensory overload. The tone of the chapter oscillates between lighthearted banter, particularly in Kim's interactions with the supporting cast, and moments of introspection, as seen in the Lama's quiet meditations. This balance offers a narrative that is as emotionally rich as it is entertaining. One of the most compelling elements of the chapter is the introduction of the unnamed old lady, a strong-willed, sharp-tongued matriarch with an authoritative presence. Her character not only adds a dynamic force to the story, but also embodies the strength and complexities of Indian womanhood. Her interplay with Kim and the Lama reveals the nuanced understanding of human relationships that Kipling brings to the novel. Stylistically, Kipling's language is both accessible and poetic, with an ability to turn a phrase that captures the essence of a character or scene. His dialogue is particularly natural, conveying personality and cultural context with a deft touch, which makes for an engaging read. Emotionally, the chapter is a roller coaster, moving from joyful celebration of life to the poignancy of the Lama's spiritual yearning. The reader is left with a sense of the rich tapestry of human experience, as well as a reminder of the universal search for meaning and connection. In conclusion, Chapter 4 of Kim serves as an exemplary piece of literary craftsmanship, weaving together themes, character development, tone, symbolism, and emotional depth into a narrative tapestry as complex and colorful as India itself. It is a chapter that invites readers to reflect on their own journeys, both literal and metaphorical, through the lens of Kipling's vibrant world. Welcome to our literary journey through Rudyard Kipling's Kim, focusing on Chapter 5. In this chapter, we explore themes of identity, spirituality, and the clashing of cultures as we witness significant character development, particularly in our young protagonist, Kim. The concept of identity is central to the narrative, with Kim caught between two worlds, the British Empire and the colorful cultural mosaic of India. His interactions with the Lama symbolize a spiritual quest juxtaposed against the materialistic and imperialistic values represented by the British soldiers. The Lama's search for the River of the Arrow is not merely a physical journey, but an emblem of enlightenment and release from worldly attachments, which stands in contrast to the structured, regimented life that the British offer Kim. The tone of Chapter 5 oscillates between the lightheartedness of Kim's adventures and the gravity of his cross-cultural experiences. Kipling's tone is often playful yet insightful, capturing the vivacity of India and the complexity of Kim's situation. Kim's streetwise survival skills, coupled with his cultural adaptability, are highlighted as he navigates the expectations of the British officers while remaining true to his Indian roots. Symbolism is rich throughout the chapter. The red bull on a green field, the regimental emblem that Kim has been seeking as part of his prophesied destiny, becomes a symbol of his dual heritage and a foreshadowing of his future involvement with the British Army. It also represents the fulfillment of the prophecy, tying Kim's personal journey to greater historical events, such as the impending war hinted at in the chapter's closing lines. The emotional undercurrents of the chapter are complex. We sense Kim's internal conflict as he is torn between his loyalty to the Lama and the allure of the new life promised by the British. The Lama's distress at potentially losing Kim is palpable, as is Kim's struggle to reassure him. The bond between the two is a touching depiction of cross-cultural friendship and mutual respect. Stylistically, Kipling employs a mix of dialogue, description, and inner monologue. The contrast between the Lama's formal speech and Kim's code switching as he translates and communicates with the British officers showcases Kipling's skill in character voice and dialogue. Moreover, the chapter's narrative flow is punctuated by local color and detail, immersing the reader in the setting. In this chapter, Kipling continues to develop Kim's character as a boy of wit and resourcefulness, who is comfortable in multiple worlds yet belongs fully to neither. The Lama's character also develops as we see him grapple with the worldly implications of his spiritual journey and his attachment to Kim. Chapter 5 of Kim serves as a microcosm of the novel's larger themes, presenting a tapestry of cultural interaction, personal identity, and the quest for meaning. Kipling's narrative choices, from the symbolic red bull to the richly drawn characters, create a compelling chapter that advances the plot while deepening our understanding of the novel's themes and emotional landscape. As we close this chapter, we are left anticipating the impact of prophecy and history on the lives of Kim and the Lama, as well as the consequences of their choices in the chapters to come. Chapter 6 of Rudyard Kipling's Kim is a pivotal moment in the young protagonist's life, marking the transition from his free-spirited existence on the Grand Trunk Road to the structured world of a sahib. This chapter is rich in literary themes, character development, tone, symbolism, and emotional undercurrents, which we'll explore in detail. The chapter opens with the Mavericks, an Irish regiment, preparing to leave for the front, and Kim's newfound security is suddenly uncertain. Kipling uses the military setting to establish a tone of impermanence and transition, reflecting the broader themes of identity and belonging. The soldiers' casual banter with Kim shows a blend of camaraderie and colonial attitudes, and their comments form a backdrop to the unfolding drama of Kim's life. Character development is central in this chapter, particularly in Kim's interactions with Father Victor and Mr. Bennett, which reveal his cunning and adaptability. Kim's encounter with the regiment that claims him as a son of the regiment creates a tension between his past and the future they offer him. Kim's reluctance to embrace this future is palpable, as he longs to return to the llama and his previous life. The symbolism of the Red Bull, the regimental mascot, appears again in this chapter. For Kim, it represents freedom and connection to his father, but now it also symbolizes the forces pulling him into a life of structure and discipline. The prophecy of the Red Bull, which led Kim to the regiment, now seems like a double-edged sword, trapping him in a destiny he did not choose. Emotional undercurrents run deep as Kim grapples with his sense of self amidst the colonial powers. Kipling masterfully weaves Kim's internal struggle with his external circumstances, highlighting the boy's sense of alienation in the barracks and his discomfort with the strict rules of British military life. The reader feels Kim's longing for escape and his clever manipulation of the situation to his advantage. Stylistically, Kipling's use of language is both evocative and efficient. His dialogue captures the varied accents and idioms of the characters, from the Irish brogue of Father Victor to the vernacular of the Indian bazaar. Kipling also employs symbolism and foreshadowing, such as when Kim reflects on the heavy clothing of a sahib, suggesting the weight of the identity being thrust upon him. Throughout the chapter, Kipling uses the motif of play and games to contrast Kim's childhood innocence with the serious adult world he's entering. The reference to polo, both in Mahbub Ali's conversation with the English officer and in the fate of the polo pony, serves as a metaphor for Kim's potential and the different paths his life could take. In the climactic scene, where Mahbub Ali orchestrates Kim's future while negotiating with the English officer, the emotional stakes are high. Kim's desperation and Mahbub's affectionate, if somewhat self-serving mentorship are on full display. The chapter ends with a bittersweet note as Kim resigns himself to waiting, trusting in Mahbub's promise of a better future. Chapter 6 is a beautifully crafted narrative that advances the plot while deepening our understanding of Kim's character. Kipling's choices set the stage for Kim's further adventures amid the cultural and political complexities of British India, as the boy continues his search for identity and belonging in a world that tries to define him. Welcome to our literary journey through Rudyard Kipling's Kim, focusing on the pivotal Chapter 7. The chapter opens with a poem by Sir John Christie, setting a reflective and somewhat mysterious tone. The poem speaks of cosmic forces and personal destiny, resonating with Kim's own journey as he navigates the stars of his fate. Kipling's choice to include this poem underscores the theme of predestination and the individual's quest to understand their place in the world, a key element in Kim's character development. In this chapter, Kipling further explores the central themes of identity and belonging. Kim, struck off the school's strength, is suddenly free to return to the bazaar, an environment where he feels at home, among the eclectic mix of cultures and languages of India. Here, his ease with the local customs and his adept code switching between his roles as a sahib and a native boy highlight the duality of his identity. The emotional undercurrents of this chapter are complex. Kim's interactions with the letter writer and Colonel Creighton showcase his cunning and resourcefulness, as well as his emotional attachment to the llama. The Colonel's mixed feelings toward Kim, a blend of admiration and exasperation, mirror the reader's own sentiments as we witness Kim's clever evasion of his supposed benefactors. Symbolism is rich throughout the chapter. The letter to the llama serves as a symbol of Kim's loyalty and the spiritual connection that transcends his adventures. Meanwhile, the cheroot case incident with Colonel Creighton symbolizes Kim's testing of boundaries and the game of intelligence and espionage that is slowly enveloping him. As the narrative unfolds, Kipling's stylistic choices become apparent. His use of local dialects and idiomatic expressions adds authenticity to the setting, while the contrast between the regimented life at the school and the colorful chaos of the bazaar underscores Kim's inner conflict between his British and Indian identities. The emotional climax occurs when Kim reunites with the Lama, revealing his deep affection for his mentor. Despite the Lama's initial detachment, focusing on the spiritual quest for the river, their bond is undeniable. Kipling uses this reunion to explore the theme of love and sacrifice, as the Lama admits he has come for Kim, and Kim acknowledges his dependence on the old man. The chapter closes with Kim confidently stepping into the unknown, having persuaded the Lama to let him attend St. Xavier's while maintaining their connection. The Lama's departure, with Kim watching from the school's gates, is a poignant moment, blending the excitement of new experiences with the melancholy of separation. In conclusion, Chapter 7 of Kim is a masterful blend of character development, thematic exploration, and emotional resonance. Kipling's rich prose, infused with symbolism and cultural depth, invites us to ponder the complexities of identity and the bonds that tie us to our mentors and guides. As we accompany Kim on his journey, we are reminded of the universal quest for understanding and the intricate dance between destiny and self-determination. Thank you for joining us on this reflective exploration of Kipling's timeless work. Welcome back to our literary journey through Kipling's Kim. Today, we delve into Chapter 8, where intricate layers of culture, espionage, and personal growth interweave to create a rich tapestry. Our chapter opens with a verse that encapsulates the theme of duality and balance. Kim, the streetwise orphan, now treads a line between two worlds, the British Empire and the complexities of Indian society. Kipling's choice of verse before the chapter sets the scene for Kim's internal struggle and the external forces shaping him. The transformation of Kim's identity is a prominent theme. Mahbub Ali, the horse trader and spy, helps Kim adopt a Muslim persona, highlighting the fluidity of identity in colonial India. This change isn't just a disguise, it's a window into Kim's adaptability and survival instincts. The ability to navigate multiple identities is a survival mechanism, a theme that resonates throughout the novel. Character development is significant in this chapter. We see Kim's growth from a carefree child to a more calculated individual as he negotiates for his turban's color and later for information. Mahbub Ali's character is also fleshed out, showing a balance between his affection for Kim and his role within the great game of espionage. The tone of the chapter oscillates between light-hearted banter and the undercurrent of danger. Kipling's use of language brings out the playfulness of Kim's interactions with Mahbub Ali, while also hinting at the risks involved in the espionage trade. Symbolism is rife within the chapter, especially in the references to clothing and color. Kim's turban color change from Hindu to Muslim signifies a deeper shift in his role and in the allegiances he must display. The soil, life, and Allah mentioned in the opening verse symbolically represent the foundations of Kim's character, his experiences, and the guiding forces in his life. Emotional undercurrents in the chapter are complex. There's a sense of camaraderie and humor between Kim and Mahbub Ali, but also an underlying tension as Kim is drawn deeper into the world of espionage. His mixed heritage and allegiance create a poignant emotional landscape of belonging and isolation. Stylistically, Kipling employs a mix of dialogue, proverbs, and narrative that lends authenticity to the setting and characters. The use of local dialect and the inclusion of cultural references immerse the reader in the Indian milieu. Kipling's keen observational skills bring the hustle and bustle of the setting to life, painting a vivid picture of the bazaar and its denizens. Chapter 8 of Kim showcases Kipling's ability to blend themes, character arcs, and cultural elements into a cohesive narrative. As Kim's journey continues, we are reminded of the broader societal and political machinations at play, all while retaining focus on the personal growth of our young protagonist. This chapter not only moves the plot forward, but enriches our understanding of the novel's deeper messages about identity, loyalty, and the grandeur of the great game. Join us next time as we explore the twists and turns of Kim's adventures and the lessons they hold for us all. Whether you're revisiting this classic or exploring it for the first time, there's always something new to discover in Kipling's India. Chapter 9 of Rudyard Kipling's novel, Kim, is rich in its literary themes and stylistic choices, encapsulating the complexity of Kim's identity and his journey towards self-discovery. Kipling's use of tone, symbolism, and emotional undercurrents enhance the narrative's depth as Kim navigates the duality of his existence, both as a Sahib and a native of India. As the chapter opens with an Oregon legend, Kipling sets the stage for a tale of learning and transformation, paralleling Kim's own apprenticeship under the watchful eyes of various mentors. The legend itself, speaking of a young man groomed to be a medicine man, foreshadows Kim's own development into a figure of significance, blending cultural wisdom with boldness and daring. Kim's character development is central to this chapter as he embraces his return to the European world after a period of living as a native. His eagerness to be a Sahib again for a while signals his fluid identity, able to switch between worlds with relative ease. Yet, it's clear that his experiences have imbued him with a perspective unique among his peers, allowing him to navigate the complexities of colonial India with an insider's knowledge and an outsider's privileges. Symbolism is ever present in the chapter, with the house of Mr. Lurgan serving as a microcosm of India's cultural diversity and the blending of traditions. Lurgan's occupation, dealing with jewels and artifacts, is symbolic of the colonial exploitation of India's riches, but also represents the hidden treasures of knowledge and wisdom that Kim is being subtly trained to seek out and appreciate. The tone of the chapter vacillates between the lightheartedness of Kim's adventures and the more somber undercurrents of his destiny. Kipling uses descriptive language to evoke a sense of wonder and mystery, particularly in the passages detailing Kim's exploration of Lurgan's house. The double firmament of house lights and the sense that smelt like all the temples of all the East create a vivid sensory experience for the reader, drawing them into the enchantment of Kim's world. Emotionally, the chapter deals with themes of loyalty, trust, and the search for belonging. Kim's interactions with Lurgan and the Hindu boy reveal his innate intelligence and adaptability, but also his longing for connection and understanding. His ability to impress and earn the respect of Lurgan hints at the emotional rewards of his journey, yet his thoughts on the Lama and their parted ways show his internal conflict and desire for guidance. Stylistically, Kipling employs a natural and accessible tone, using dialogue and dialect to establish character and setting. The interplay between Kim and the characters he encounters is rendered in a conversational manner that reflects the oral storytelling traditions of the East. Kipling's narrative voice is that of an observer who respects the cultural tapestry before him, yet does not shy away from critiquing the colonial structures in place. In summary, Chapter 9 of Kim is a multifaceted exploration of a young boy's coming of age in a colonized land. It showcases Kim's adaptability and growth, while hinting at the greater role he is to play in the great game of espionage. Through literary themes of transformation, identity, and cultural intersection, Kipling crafts a chapter that is both a pivotal moment in Kim's personal development and a commentary on the broader historical context of British India.